This evening I'm working out at our neighbor's field down the road from us where we do a lot of our garlic and potato production. This evening in particular I was doing some mowing with the electric mower, the bagger on the back, and using that to mulch some of the nursery beds and production beds that we have out here. I thought I'd like to spend a little time looking at, in particular, our garlic patch for the season. It's really up. It's probably the strongest element in the field this season so far. And look at a surprising and really affirming and wonderful companion that showed up with the garlic this year, that we're learning about how to work with them and really appreciate them. I'll start looking at this field. This is the southernmost field, not the garlic field. I'll get to that in a moment. But this is where we're doing some potato production. A lot of complex stuff happening in here that doesn't look like much right now. There's tons and tons of little onion transplants that are mulched in with grass from the push mower. I'll be coming back out with an electric riding mower with a bagger on the back soon and mulching much more deeply. That's a pathway management strategy we use pretty extensively. You can see here, for example, these are little starts of onions that have been put in, little compost on top, some rain settled in to get them growing, and then grass clippings to pin it all down and add some nitrogen. That formula works really nicely. And so slowly but surely we're translating this whole field from last year's production into a mix of potatoes and transplants and other things, doing the boundary and edge mowing with the push mower. But I'd like to take a look at our northernmost field here, our third field, and see how the garlic is doing and look at some friends that have shown up to really support what they're up to. Our middle field needs a lot of work. This will be a space we'll look back on in a little bit. We're going to do a fairly large amount of sweet potatoes in here, some more sunflower and amaranth, get a bunch of squash going in here, but that's for a little bit later. That's more of the hot season stuff. This block, this is the one I really wanted to focus on in this video. This was in potatoes last year. If I can find the video, I'll link to it here. And it's a pathway we've been using quite a bit, is going from field context, weedy sod, generic open field context. First season is to do potatoes, so where the garlic is where potatoes were, and then try to time things appropriately so that the potato harvest comes out and the garlic goes more or less right in. Right now the garlic is looking very, very solid. This is without any plastic or irrigation or spray. It's entirely organic here and hand powered. And part of what is keeping the weeds at bay and the fertility up and the health and vibrancy of the garlic is this sweet little champion, purple dead nettle. I'll put on the screen the Latin name. I don't know it, so I'll have to look it up. This is a Lamiaceae. It's a mint family friend, extremely early. And I will be honest, early in the season, around February or March, when things started thawing out a little bit premature this season. In fact, you can see the purple dead nettle all throughout. I got a little bit worried. It seemed pretty dominant. It seemed kind of scary. It was the main character. The garlic seemed to have a hard time pushing through it. And I had one initial thought of like, oh, we got to come out here with a team and pull it all. I really wish I got some more photos and videos of that early in the season, because it did seem daunting and overwhelming. It's the first time I've seen purple dead nettle as strong in a field as I did this year. Then all of a sudden this just kind of magic switch happened where the garlic started taking off a little bit and the purple dead nettle quietly, gently stayed where it was. The bumblebees and the bees kept working on it. This is an absolute fantastic early season browse for all sorts of flying allies, little native friends and non-native friends alike. Let me see if I can get a shot here. There's a sweet non-native lovely. That's a European honeybee working on them. I've seen bumblebees, I've seen mason bees, everybody in between. So providing an amazing browse, this little purple dead nettle, that the garlic does not offer. That's one of the things about growing garlic in these monocultural crops. It's a wonderful high density, high value density crop and low embodied energy to get us here, but it does not offer a huge amount to the ecosystem as far as diversity and ideas for them to explore. But this purple dead nettle really is, and it segued so exquisitely. And now we're left with the areas where it was pretty gappy. You know, we had some hardwood cuttings that didn't work that well, and some bare soil where the nettle is a lot stronger. And this is not stinging nettle. I should be really clear there. That is an entirely different plant. And wherever there's a little bit of light and opening, it's a little bit stronger. But in the interiors where the garlic pushed past it, it is now absolutely a gentle ground cover rather than a dominant competitor to the garlic. In fact, I wouldn't describe in actuality a single moment where it really was actually competing with the garlic. Early in the season, the garlic had its stored energy down in the earth that it was slowly getting up, and now it's photosynthesizing. The purple dead nettle is moving towards senescence and finishing up for the season. They'll drop seed into here, and my gosh, I welcome it immensely. The idea of this being a perennial biennial ground cover combo. I don't know exactly who it is. I suspect they are biennial. Please correct me. Please let me know in the comments. And this is technically an edible and medicinal plant. Really wonderful little being. All throughout this garlic patch. I don't know how it showed up, but my gosh, what a beautiful thing. Super fine reminder when you are working in plant systems or earth systems, animal systems, what have you. Get to know the crew, who is showing up, and before you make decisions, big strokes and big management decisions about, you gotta go, I gotta eradicate, I gotta control and dominate. What are they up to? What's actually happening? And here we are in this garlic field. This is about as good as I could hope our garlic to ever look. We're in the first week of May, and it is excelsior, ecstatic and healthy and beautiful, and on its way to a beautiful crop. I ran the weed eater down the walkways the string trimmer, just to like knock down some of the grasses that were in there in the little light gaps. But this is a beautiful field of garlic with an exquisitely wonderful little champion of a ground covering support plant along with it. I'm so glad to have got to know them a little bit better. Folks have suggested in the past that purple dead nettle is a really super fine and sweet companion to the allium crew in general, and my gosh, it has panned out to be true. We'll share more updates as things unfold in here, but right now we are on track, barring some extreme heat wave or some extreme profound drought. This will be one of the better growing seasons for our garlic. This is an irrigation-free field. We do not add any fertilizer, no chemicals. As you notice, there is absolutely no plastic, drip irrigation. This is a segue pathway plan of working with potatoes for deep tillage, deep perennial weed eradication, translating directly into a strong garlic crop with some tree crops in the middle. There's hazelnuts in there. And then once the garlic comes out in July, we'll transition this into a broad array of annual crops and go from there. This pathway has worked really well for us. Please share, what are your feelings on this little wonderful friend, purple dead nettle? Do you like them? What do you do with them? Do you work with them for tea, for medicine? Let's talk more about this particular plant. Let's highlight it since it's been so nice to us this spring so far. And what are some other really wonderful companions that you have found in your fields for your annual crops, your biennial crops? Who pops up and shows themselves and turns out to be absolutely wonderful? We found purslane in mid-season to be a fantastic ground cover for tomatoes in the hot weather. Chickweed was beautiful and lovely in and amongst the lettuces early in the season. There's always these little serendipitous friends that show up. You just have to keep an eye and ear open and a sensibility, a spirit open to the idea that most of these plants are friends. How do we work with them? How do we adjust ourselves so we can be friends too?